Good afternoon, morning, or evening, whenever you're watching this. Welcome back. It is another edition of your favorite podcast by your favorite fan. This is Fan Talk. You already know what it is. Welcome back, guys. I'm Kyle Brenchley, here for another episode of the most exhilarating podcast this side of the Mississippi. Where does that phrase come from? I don't know. Look it up. Let me know in the comments below. This is a podcast by me, Kyle Brenchley, your favorite fan. You can find this podcast on iHeartRadio, on Spotify, on YouTube. I obviously film it, so YouTube is a great place to find it. Spotify, you can upload videos as well now. So if you're a big Spotify fan, go check me out on there as well. We have a lot to talk about as always. But again, thank you guys for tuning in and watching. Hope you guys have a wonderful week. And let's jump in. Are we talking... there's so much to talk about. I could talk about Draymond Green getting ejected for the third time this season for slapping Nurkic in the face. I could talk the offsides call by Kadarius Toney in the Kansas City Chiefs Buffalo game and the crazy stuff around that. But we're gonna talk baseball today. We're going to put those stories aside because you can get full coverage on those stories pretty much everywhere. We're going to talk baseball today and my thoughts on this big contract by this big-time player. Then we'll talk NFL. We'll make picks. We'll talk the playoff picture. Going forward, we're going to be talking playoff picture pretty much every week. We're getting down 5 weeks left in the regular season. It's December football right now, so... if you want to play in January, you got to play good in December. So we'll talk about that and a lot more here on Fan Talk. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Okay, I took a little break there. I got to get a little drink. I want to show you my advent calendar. So last week I showed this 25 days of Christmas advent calendar I got. So these little NFL mini figurines, and each day you open it up. Today, December 13th, it was the Miami Dolphins. So it's just like this little figurine. It's Tua Tagovailoa, if the camera can focus there. But yeah, it's this cute little thing that each day a little player comes up. The other day it was Jonathan Taylor from the Colts. And we had Russell Wilson from the Broncos a little while ago. So yeah, just a cute little thing. I also have a song advent calendar, countdown to Christmas. Just new Christmas song every day. A little fun fact. Today, December 13th, the song is Blue Christmas by Elvis Presley. And did you know that Elvis Presley's recording of this song is the most well-known version? But rumor has it that he didn't even want to sing it in the first place, according to an interview with late singer Millie Kirkham. So there you go. There you go. It's got a little thing there, and then 12 Days of Christmas on that side. So, fun little thing that I do. We'll tune back in next week, or I guess tomorrow. But next week for you guys to see what song is on the advent calendar and what players have been unveiled. Let's see, by next week will be December 20th. So we'll have a lot more NFL little mini figurines to show you. Okay, enough with the fun pleasantries. Let's talk baseball. Let's talk this big contract. You know what I'm about to say. Shohei Ohtani from the Angels moving cross town to the Dodgers. And it was a record-breaking deal, $700 million contract over the next 10 years. That is the biggest contract in American sports history, given to a man who can do it all. He can pitch, he can hit, he can run, he can even field. So... we all kind of knew the whole season. They were talking to Shohei Ohtani, where is he going to go? Where is he going to go? A lot of people thought he was going to be unloaded at the trade deadline. He wasn't. A lot of people said it was a mistake because the Angels, they have Mike Trout, they have Shohei Ohtani, two of the best players in the league, but they're just so mid. They're so mid. They can't make the playoffs. They don't have pieces around them. They couldn't do anything. And so this year was kind of their last gasp. Like, we're going to keep Ohtani. We're going to try and make the playoffs. And really what they should have done, he was a free agent at the end of the year. They really should have unloaded him. They really should have gotten the world for him. But, I mean, you have your favorite toy, your favorite clothing item, your most valuable pair of shoes. Like you're really attached to it and you don't want to let it go. Partially because if you let it go, then you're like, well, like when it was in my possession, it wasn't used to its full capacity. It was a fail. It was yada, yada, yada. And then also, you still cling on to hope that maybe the City of Angels is mourning the loss of their angel, Shohei Ohtani. So he's going to the Dodgers. News did come out a couple days ago that of that $700 million, he will just receive $20 million over the next 10 years, and then he's going to leave the $680 million payable after that 10 years, so starting in 2034. So what this means, so he'll get an annual salary of $70 million instead of, the $70 million would have been each year. So he's just going to get $2 million a year. Does that make sense? And what this does is it allows the Dodgers to use that money, that extra millions and millions of dollars, to pay other players on the team, give contracts to them, give contracts to new people. And it's pretty much the move, the ultimate, like, selfless move. You get offered the most money ever, and you say, hey, I'm going to take like 1/50th of that, or whatever the fraction is, and you can use the other money to build around me, to pay our bullpen, to get some base running, to get some depth, or whatever it is. He's pretty much saying, like, here, let's make a run for the postseason. I'm here. We have some good players. Let's go get some more. Use this money. Let's go win a World Series. Which I think is awesome. You see this in other sports too. Players taking cuts so they can build around the roster. So they're, kind of saying, let's help the team out. I'm not worried about being the biggest contract in sports. Like, I'm worried about, like, let's go win some World Series. And I like that. I like when players do that. I think it's a good look. And speaking of World Series, let's talk this. So this move, pretty much, it's if the Dodgers don't win a World Series after this move, then people are going to be like, dang, what is going on here? Let's look back at the Dodgers postseason results. So they've made the playoffs like 10 times out of the last 10 years. They made the playoffs every single year in the last 10 years. They've been the top of the NL, National League. They've had the best record in baseball a couple times. They've had the best bullpen. They've won over 100 games, 5 times in the last 7 seasons. They've been good. They've been a really good team. But when they get to the postseason, they choke. They get upset by an underdog. They fall victim to a Cinderella story. Last time they won the World Series, so they did win in the 2020 year. Similar to the Lakers, where it was a shortened season. They played less games. Things were weird with COVID. The Lakers came out and won. Dodgers came out and won. The city of LA was like, booyah, what's up? But then, that wasn't even their peak. That was kind of in the middle of their peak. So let's go back. Let's go back to 2017 when they made the World Series against the Astros, and the Astros beat them in 7 games. They had one of the best records in baseball, 104-58. They made it to the World Series. They won a couple rounds. I consider that a successful postseason. You make it to the World Series, you lose in 7 games. Tough. But you were one of the best teams in baseball. You did exactly what you're supposed to do. You just came up short at the end. Next season, they kind of took a step back a little bit, lost a few more games. They played the Red Sox. And I was not around. I was on a church mission when this World Series was happening. So I didn't even see this in 2018. But from what I've heard, the Red Sox got streaky that year. They kind of just had a good run in the postseason and ended up winning the World Series. Because ever since then, the Red Sox have been pretty bad. So, I mean, same kind of thing. Like, you had a lesser record. You weren't the 1 seed, so the Dodgers got to the World Series, but they lost to a streaky team. So you're kind of like, 2 years in a row. Like, that's rough. Like, next year, we really need to come out and win. But then the next year, again, you have one of the best records in baseball, but you lose in the divisional series. You don't even get out. You don't even win 1 round. So, boom. And then 2020, you bounce back. You win the World Series. You're kind of like, okay, 3 of the 4 last years, we've been there. We've won it once. Like, things can only get better, right? Like, we're not going to keep losing. Wrong. Absolutely wrong. Next year, 2021, really good record. They lost in the NL Championship Series. 2022, they lost in the Divisional Series. And 2023, they lost in the Divisional Series this year. They lost to the Diamondbacks this year. The Diamondbacks were the streaky team this year. So the Dodgers, they run into these streaky teams. They run into these Cinderella teams. Let's see, 2022 I think it was the Phillies. The Phillies were the streaky team that year. So it's crazy. The Dodgers, is it bad luck? Is it that they just don't match up well against some of these teams that don't have as good as records, but like they're still good teams? Like, it's an interesting concept that a record, while it does indicate quite a bit, it's not the ultimate be-all say-all, right? Because honestly, this Dodgers team, 4 of the last 5 seasons, 5 of the last 7 seasons have won 100 games, but only have 1 World Series to show for it. So hopefully Shohei Ohtani can do something about that. Sorry, I kicked the camera with my excitement, but we'll keep an eye on that moving forward. That is the biggest deal in baseball. There's more deals, of course. Go check them out. I don't have time to make a full video about it. My friend Daniel, he was on this podcast before. He's the big baseball guy. I'm sure he'll love to talk about all the off-season trades. So go check that out. Okay, now, quick intermission. Check out my hat. I'm wearing a hat today, little NXN Nike Nationals when I was in high school. This is from a race I did down in Arizona. Fun time. I like the hat. I don't wear it too often. I whip it out in the winter. It's cool. Okay, let's transition to the NFL. Playoffs are looming, and we have some playoff pictures to talk about, both in the NFC and the AFC. So let's talk about the NFC first. Currently, as it stands, playoff picture, the San Francisco 49ers have the 1 seed. They beat the Eagles and currently have the best record. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to clinch the division unless the Seahawks or Rams do something crazy and the 49ers take a poop, but I don't believe that. And they have a 51% chance to make the Super Bowl. I think, depending on if the Cowboys can do something in the playoffs and not self-destruct, I think the 49ers right now are the best bet for the NFC to make it to the Super Bowl. But once we get closer, we'll do playoff predictions and all that jazz. So the 49ers, the 1 seed. Philadelphia Eagles are currently the 5 seed, actually. Because the division, they lost to the Cowboys, so the Cowboys hold the 2 seed right now. And then you got the Lions in there, Vikings in there, Packers are in there. The Buccaneers have a playoff spot because NFC South, someone has to go. The Rams are in the hunt, the Saints are in the hunt, and the Falcons are in the hunt. I mean, even the Seahawks are in the hunt as well. Even the Chicago Bears, even the New York Giants are still in the hunt. It goes deep in the NFC. We'll have to keep an eye on that. AFC, it's even deeper. But the teams are just better. So, I mean, Baltimore Ravens are currently sitting atop. You got the Chiefs, you got the Dolphins, you got the Jaguars, and then you got the Browns, the Bills, the Broncos, the Texans, the Colts, the Steelers, the Bengals. They all have 7-6 record. It's going to be tight. What's going to happen? Who knows? Who knows? Tune in. The most important or impactful game of this week, and impactful meaning affecting playoff chances for teams, is going to be Saturday's game. Fun fact, 3 Saturday games this week. Pittsburgh Steelers at the Indianapolis Colts. Excuse me. That just came out of nowhere. So this game's on Saturday, and I'll talk about it. But the Steelers, if they win, will have a 56% chance to get to the playoffs. If they lose, then it drops down all the way to 10%. So, I mean, losses are very hurtful now and wins are very helpful. Colts, 41% chance to make the playoffs. If they lose, it drops down to 22. And the race for the number one pick, it's probably going to be the Bears because the Carolina Panthers are abysmal. They've only won one game. I'll talk about them in a second. They might have a chance to win another game this week in this week's game. So let's jump right into our picks. Let's close this episode. Let's get you back to what you're doing. Week 15. Yes, week 15 in the NFL is kicking off. My overall rankings, let me share. I keep track here. Last week I kind of took a hit. Last week, week 14, I went 7-8. The first time I had a losing record in a pick'em scenario. I'm currently 110-80 on my own records. On this records, I am, what does it say? 120-82. 84. 120 correct picks, 84 incorrect picks. So Thursday Night Football, we have the Chargers visiting the Las Vegas Raiders. Biggest news out of Los Angeles Chargers is that Justin Herbert fractured his finger on his right hand, his throwing hand, and he is out for the year, which is unfortunate for the Chargers. Another disappointing season. Every year, the hope is that Herbert and the offense can lead them to postseason glory. They did last year, and then they blew the biggest lead ever to the Jaguars. They're visiting the Raiders. The Raiders did not score a single point. The Raiders lost 3-0 to the Minnesota Vikings. What? That's a soccer score. That's a baseball score. Absolutely disgraceful. Absolutely pitiful. Both teams are 5-8. Both teams are on that way out. Easton Stick versus Aiden McConnell. I don't know if you guys have plans for Thursday night, but you better make them because this game. Who do you pick? Who do you pick in this one? Both teams suck. Both teams are not good. The Raiders, I'm leaning towards the Raiders, but I'm having a really hard time giving them the go because they literally did not score a single point. So I'm going to pick the Chargers, probably. Who knows? Who knows what will happen in that game? I really don't care. It really doesn't matter. Vikings at Bengals. Now, this game is big. Vikings, they're benching Josh Dobbs. They're going to give the green light to Nick Mullins. And for that reason, I'm going to pick the Cincinnati Bengals. They're kind of streaky. Jake Browning, not a bad guy. Not a bad quarterback. They're still in the playoff hunt. 7-6. A win would really boost their standings. Steelers at Colts. I do think the Colts win this one. I think the Steelers are gonna miss the playoffs. They're probably gonna have their first losing record under Mike Tomlin in a long time. Broncos at Lions. Man, I know the Lions are a good team. Hear me out. The Lions are a great team. Big offensive firepower. They're gonna run into this Denver defense and have some issues. The Lions have lost once to the Bears. Probably should have lost twice to the Bears. The Lions have some issues right now. Yeah, this game's in Detroit. Broncos are streaky. Give me the Broncos. Broncos country. Let's ride. Bears at Browns. Initially, I was going to pick the Bears in this one, but the Browns kind of seem to have found a little something. Joe Flacco, their defense is still good. They're 8-5. This game is at home. They're sitting pretty. A win pretty much solidifies a really good spot for the playoffs. Give me the Browns, although I will be rooting for the Bears for the sake of the Broncos. Here we go. Falcons at Panthers. Panthers are abysmal. They're 1-12. Falcons, I've mentioned this before. They're a weird team. They came close, but they blew it there at the end versus Tampa Bay. I'm going to pick the Panthers. This is my upset pick of the week. It won't really affect anything except for the Falcons. They're probably going to miss the playoffs because of this loss. And the Bears will enjoy first overall pick. Buccaneers at Packers. Initially, I liked the Packers in this one. They did just lose to the Giants. So we could see there, but they're still good. The Buccaneers aren't a consistent team. They're kind of mid. So give me the Packers in this one. Texans at Titans. CJ Stroud is in concussion protocol. He might not play. He might. They had probably their worst game of the season against the Jets They got boat raced. What was it, 30-6? Granted, C.J. Stroud did not play well, and ultimately the team does well based on him. Like they're not a team. They're not the Jets where the defense can hold up, or the Browns where the defense can hold up. They're very much C.J. Stroud has to play well for us to play well. So this game's in Tennessee. Give me the Titans. Upset. They just took out the Dolphins. Who says they can't take out the Texans? Jets at Dolphins. I will take the Dolphins in this one, although shout out. I will say this. I have been hard on Zach Wilson. He played very well. Put up 30 points on the Texans. It looks like they're going to roll with him for the rest of the year. But for the sake of him, I think the Jets, get rid of him. Let him walk next season. Let him go to another team. Let him start fresh. I think the Dolphins in this one, though, they're just too good. It's going to be closer because the defense of the Jets always gives them a chance. But I think the Dolphins edge them out and win this one. Giants at Saints. Give me the Giants. I am rolling with the Giants. I'm probably going to be wrong in this one, but here's another upset pick of the week. Give me the Giants. The Saints defense is a little better than the Packers defense, so it might be a little tricky. They're not at home. But Danny DeVito. Did you see his agent? Go check out the video. His agent literally looks like he's from the Godfather movies. He's Italian. He looks super cool. Go check it out. Chiefs at Patriots. I will pick the Chiefs in this one. Bills are definitely a different animal than the Patriots. Hopefully the Patriots can upset the Chiefs. That would be the craziest upset of all time. But I'm going with the Chiefs in this one. Again, I'm not talking about the offsides call. Whatever. Commanders at Rams. Give me the Rams. I just don't think the Commanders are good. 49ers at Cardinals. Give me the 49ers. They'll probably be a little closer than a lot of people think. Cowboys at Bills. I'm going with the Cowboys. I can't believe I'm saying this, but the Cowboys are looking pretty good. I think they'll finish out the regular season pretty good, and they might choke in the playoffs, but we'll get there when we get there. Ravens at Jaguars. Give me the Ravens. That was an eccentric win, walk-off punt return for a touchdown. Jaguars will put up a fight. They're a good team, but I think the Ravens will just win that one. Eagles at Seahawks, Monday Night Football. Give me the Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly. Unfortunately for the Seahawks, this will not be their year. And how many points will be scored in the Chiefs game? Probably 41. I think the Chiefs will blow out the Patriots. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. So there you go. There is my Week 15 picks. Sorry for the extra long episode. I went about 2 minutes over. I just, sometimes I do that. Sometimes I kind of keep it under 20 minutes. I try. And I really hold that to it. So thank you guys for watching. This is Fan Talk, a podcast by me, Kyle Brenchley. Go check it out. YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio. And go watch some football. Go have some fun. Enjoy the holidays. Get your holiday shopping done. And have a great week.